Welcome to Talk Regulatory to me, where we're your hosts. I'm Aksa,
And I'm Zara.
and this is a podcast to deep dive into the world of regulatory to really understand what regulatory affairs is within pharmaceuticals and how we can help other graduates, as we once were graduates lost in the world of pharmaceuticals, trying to navigate our way through corporate life.
Yeah, so we'll be talking about how to handle, your day-to-day work in regulatory affairs, different aspects of regulatory affairs, and just kind of like Axa said, an introduction to the regulatory world. And you can see if it's something that you're interested in, or if you are a recent graduate looking at job roles, where to start within the pharmaceutical world. Maybe this will be your inspiration on where to apply for a job. So I think in this first kind of episode, we're just going to speak a bit about ourselves and maybe speak about a bit about our experiences, what we did growing up, and how that kind of ties into where we are today. So, Aksa,
Yeah.
tell me about yourself in high school.
So surprisingly enough, I didn't know about regulatory when I was in school. I don't think anyone did. I had a love for science, so I knew I wanted to do something with a sciencey background. And at the time, it was pharmacy, be a pharmacist, be a doctor, be a
Yeah.
lawyer, be a
Engineer.
engineer. Those were the main ones. And for me, because I knew I loved science, I was like, okay, let me go down the pharmacy route. I probably wasn't smart enough to get into medicine, so I was like, wait,
Same.
let's go into pharmacy. So I really, really worked hard, and I used to work in a pharmacy as well. So during my, do you know when in school you have your work experience
Oh,
days?
yes, yeah.
So I had my working experience in a pharmacy. I
Same.
think I must really.
Yeah. Which pharmacy did you work
It
at?
was a independent.
Oh, right. Okay,
So
mine was Tesco.
no way.
Yeah. Were you
That's
allowed
mad.
to do much?
Yeah, well,
Oh, right,
that's
okay.
that's the thing. So they paid me. Well, I ended up getting offered a job afterwards because they they clearly liked my work so much.
Well done.
But they let me do everything.
Okay.
I don't know if I could dispense methadone on.
No.
I don't think I did. But straight after getting employed, I did do that.
Oh,
So
wow, okay.
I learned a lot about pharmacy as a whole and quickly realized that I found it quite boring. Like for
Mm.
me, it was yeah, okay, I know you need to know the clinical background and the interaction between drugs, etc. But generally speaking, it felt like a, no offense to any pharmacist, but it was like a shopkeeper kind of vibe where you would just dispense out or just give out medicine to patients, and half of the time it was the dispensers doing the work as well,
Mm-hmm.
because we would be making up what the doctor had been prescribing, and then the pharmacist would just check it off. So I kind of at that point realized that I didn't want to do that, but I had more of an interest into how the drugs were made. So then I, what did I do after that? Then it
You went
came
to
to
college, went to uni?
yeah, so it came time to applying to university. Funny story there, where actually so I had the grades,
Mm-hmm.
but SQA, so in Scotland is SQA that give your results out. They said I failed biology when I got an A actually.
Okay,
So
it's shocking.
I know. So when it came to getting my results, obviously I had a conditional offer to get into university, and I missed out because I failed one major exam that I
Mm-hmm.
had to get. I think it was a that I had to get in, or no, it was a B, I think, the requirement, and I actually got an A. So anyways, I went through clearing. I was crying my eyes out because I was like, I didn't expect my life to be like this. Crying my eyes out, trying to get onto the phone to any university that would accept me. And luckily enough, Strathclyde University offered me chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, cool, I'll take it. I'll do a year, and then I'll go into pharmacy at that point. But then I ended up loving chemistry so much that I stayed. I didn't know any future plans. I didn't know what job I wanted to do, but I just knew that I found a love for chemistry and how molecules interact from one another, and all the fun stuff that goes along with it. And then I ended up graduating with my masters. So that's kind of my school background and how, yeah, the degree that I did. It wasn't what I intended to do, but it kind of worked out for where I am right now. What about your background?
So same kind of vibe as you.
Yeah.
That I, in high school I really loved anything science. So we used to go on all these science trips, science fairs. I did work experience as well in pharmacy and Tesco. I didn't get a job. I didn't get a job
I
offer.
must have been too good.
But I did that for about 2 weeks, and medicine was always interesting to me. I didn't know what exactly about medicine, so I was thinking, I when I was at college, I really liked pharmacogenetics.
Okay.
So I did like a extended, what was it called? Like an extended project qualification. So it's like an extra AS level
All right.
on pharmacogenetics. So I really like that. And then when it came to applying for universities, same, I was just going through the list of
What you can do.
what can I do. I knew I didn't want to do pharmacy. Again, pharmacists, you do great at your jobs. We are
And
not
fun
saying
fact,
it's bad or anything,
fun
but for
fact,
us,
a lot of pharmacists actually transition
yes,
into
into our job.
regulatory.
Yes.
A lot of pharmacists are in this field, so
Yeah, yeah.
don't be disheartened.
But yeah, I didn't want to do pharmacy. I probably couldn't get the grades to be a doctor as well. So I thought, okay, went through the list, and I stopped at pharmacology.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, it seems interesting. You know, it's more biology. It's got, I think, in the first year, maybe one of the 8 modules was about chemistry, or
Okay.
maybe 2 of them. So that was good for me. I didn't really
Yeah.
like chemistry that much.
No way.
Yeah. I was more biology, and
Do
it
you know,
was
in school though, I felt like the chemistry in school is completely different to
yeah,
degree level, and I hated it in school. So that's why when I started the degree, I was like, I'm going to hate this,
yeah.
and it turned out the complete opposite.
See,
Because
I liked A level
yeah,
chemistry.
it's everything that they tell you in higher level. So in Scotland, it's higher.
Okay.
I think it's is it A levels or whatever
A
it is.
levels we do in college,
Yeah.
yeah. Sixth form
So we
college.
did that in school. So
Mhm.
hires and advanced hires, it's so different to what it is in university, and it's a complete lie. So everything when you get into uni, they're like, forget everything that you got taught in school.
Yeah, no. I couldn't do chemistry. Biology was good. I
Yeah.
liked it. I enjoyed it. So I did that for three years. I went to Kingston. And then while I was at Kingston, I needed a job. Anybody who goes to university needs a job. So I got I think it was a Christmas temp job in Boots.
Okay.
I don't think it was in my first year though. I think it was in my second year of uni. So it was a Christmas temp role. We had like 2 Boots pharmacies.
Yeah.
One was in Kingston Town Centre, and one was in Kingston Town Centre, but in the shopping centre. So I worked at the one that was outside, which was bigger.
Okay.
And then they said they couldn't keep me on after
sad.
Christmas, but then the one inside the shopping centre could,
Oh,
and that
that's
was a bit
good.
smaller.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked out because when I was doing the Christmas temping, I was on what's it called, like electronics, so straighteners and
Okay.
electric toothbrush and things
No
like that, so
way.
giving advice and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And
Did you
then
get any discounts?
Boots has really good
Is it?
discounts. Yeah. And on number 7 stuff, it was amazing.
Do you know, I've actually never tried the number 7
I like
product
number
range.
7.
You go try
I like their wipes.
it.
We used to get them really cheap. I'm not going to say how
Yeah.
much, but we
Okay.
used to get them for really cheap. So yeah, so then when that finished, then they offered me a job in the smaller one, and it was better for me because that one had a pharmacy in it.
Okay.
So I started to do they do like a healthcare professional qualification
Yeah.
to allow you to work like behind the
Oh,
counter
like
at
the
the
pharmacy
pharmacy.
assistant program.
Yeah, but it was called healthcare advisor.
Oh, okay, so I did that similar.
so did
in
you
the,
do it as well?
Yeah, so it was called. I think it was pharmacy assistant program or something like
Yeah,
that.
so I think because
Just
of
under the dispenser.
yes, it was under
Yeah,
dispenser, and I
so-
couldn't do that in the bigger one
Okay.
because obviously I
Yeah.
wasn't working on the
Yeah.
pharmacy then. So I did that to be able to work just in the
Yeah.
pharmacy and help the pharmacist. So that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And then when it came to graduating, or when I was close to graduation, because I worked at the pharmacy, I think I probably told you this before, that when I was working, I would pick up the medicine boxes and look at where they were manufactured and go on those websites and apply for a
Do
job.
you know, that's so clever. I never thought to
It
do
is,
that.
right? And
After
I don't
however
think
many years I worked in a pharmacy, I don't know why I never
Yeah.
thought to turn it around and be
I
like,
think it was just at that time because I
Yeah.
was looking for a job.
yeah,
And we
fair
had
enough.
just finished uni, or we were close to doing our final exams, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And everybody was applying for the same
Yeah.
GSK graduate program, you know, Pfizer or
I
whoever.
mean, that's all you get taught, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have any other references to use, I
And I
guess.
think the thing as well is maybe for you it's the same, that because you were in chemistry, you just maybe envisioned yourself working in a lab.
Yeah.
In pharmacology, it's kind of the same thing, that we did a lot of lab work.
Yeah.
Not like as probably as much as chemistry, but we did a lot of lab work.
Yeah.
And it's similar to like biomed as well. So in your head, you think, okay, the next job I'm gonna get,
Is a
or
lab.
the first job I'm gonna get after I graduate, is gonna be in a lab. So you're just applying to labs, hospital labs, and anything like that. And then I think it was in my the last lecture, the last lecture before our final exams in our third year, and our lecturer had a slide, and he had just written down like different jobs that you could
Yeah.
go into, and it said regulatory, it said like lab work, it said clinical trials. So I think a lot of people went for like clinical trials
Yeah.
and into that side, and then a few of us obviously applied for like regulatory and stuff. So then I did my exams. I went back home because I was living in Manchester. I worked with my uncle for a bit. I made blinds.
Oh, you never told me that.
Didn't know. Yeah, we make blinds. He still does it.
Okay.
It's kind of like a rite of passage in our family that we all have to work there for a bit.
Okay. Is that so? It's a family business.
Yes, my uncle's. Yeah, yeah.
Why did you not tell me? I needed blinds.
I don't work there anymore.
Okay.
My brother does.
If I need blinds in the future,
Yeah, you can tell my brother. So then, yeah, I was working there for like a couple of weeks, and
Okay.
then I applied for a job at AstraZeneca, and I managed to get it, and that was really big. It was a really big moment
Yeah,
for me
no, I
because
think
it was like a massive company. Um, so yeah, so that was my first job after uni, and then that got me straight into regulatory. Luckily, the job was a regulatory affairs
Yeah.
role. It was a CMC role, so I was fortunate enough to get into that. I wasn't sure at that time whether I wanted to stick to CMC
Yeah.
and medicines because I always wanted to go into like cosmetics when
Yeah.
I got into regulatory. But I'm still working in regulatory affairs, medicines.
So that's a good sign.
Yeah. And what about you after uni? Then what did you do?
So with me, yeah, I was considering doing a PhD actually.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more so I got a first in my masters, which I was
Well
shocked
done.
about.
Well done.
So with that, I was like, okay, I'm so smart. Let me go do a PhD. But no, before that, you have to start planning before you graduate. So I had inquired from a few different departments. I was really interested in nanochemistry for a bit
Okay, yeah.
because you could use well, they are using nanochemistry in medicinal manufacturing. So
Mm-hmm.
that was really interesting to me. But then for some reason, I was like, I don't know if I want to do research. I had a couple of offers from PhDs, but then I started also looking into industry.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got two offers for working in a lab. One was organic chemistry and one was analytical chemistry. And then I think I just kind of followed my gut really
Mm-hmm.
and then just went into analytical chemistry. Probably wasn't the best choice for me, I'll be honest with you. I won't talk about that. But yeah, the lab wasn't for me. I just kind of realized it was something that you're just following instructions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're just like you've got your analytical methods, which we review on a day-to-day basis now, and then you're just following the instructions, and that's it really. And it's for me, it was really political, and I just didn't enjoy the dynamic and the environment that was in.
Were you setting up the methods as well, or was it
Yeah,
just
so
you were
method
told?
development, method
Okay.
validation, and then carrying out the routine analysis
Yeah.
on whatever medicine, your stability protocols, etc. So it was good experience, it was good exposure, it was good understanding to how medicines are tested. But inevitably, I wasn't happy there, and I knew I wanted to get out. So then I actually started researching what other jobs that I could get into because in uni they didn't really tell us, they didn't really give us
Yeah.
an understanding of these are the type of jobs. So like you had that presentation, we had nothing.
Mhm.
So all we knew was going to research or going to the lab, and that was it really.
Yeah, I think universities, I mean, we went to uni, what, about 10
Yeah,
years
don't
ago or
remind me. I
something?
know, I can't believe it's been that long
I know,
now
it's
that I
been
look back.
so long.
I
I
know.
think, yeah, it's about 10 years since we graduated, probably.
I think I graduated in 2027. No, not 27.
27.
2017. So it's been
When
a
did I
while.
graduate? 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
2015.
yours has been good
Mine's
10
been 10 years
years.
since I
Yeah.
graduated, yeah. Well,
8
10 years
years.
this year.
Yeah.
But I think now maybe they have like these introduction to regulatory courses, and
Yeah.
they touch a bit more on it, not
They
as in
do.
depth because I think they do like masters and stuff.
Yeah, so there's a master's program for regulatory, but that's in Hertfordshire University, which is in England. So
Oh,
I
yes.
grew up in Scotland
Yeah.
and studied there, and there wasn't much there at all. So for me, yeah, getting into the lab was the first thing to do. Then, as I said, I was starting to research what other jobs I could do, and I came across regulatory affairs. So started looking into that more and more. I came across an organisation called TOPRA, decided to sign up to them as a member, and then kind of just started to understand a little bit more about regulatory. I did one of the TOPRA courses, which was, I think it's called the Essentials to Regulatory Affairs or something like that.
Mhm.
And that really gave me an insight to what regulatory was. And for me, I wanted to get into the background of the manufacturing of the drug, not
Mhm.
necessarily testing the drug, but more the science and the strategy behind it. And this kind of, I never knew the job title for it. So,
Yeah.
you know, when you
You
know
know it
something exists,
exists.
but you
Yeah.
don't know how to get there. So
Mhm.
that for me was this. And it kind of clicked like a light bulb, that regulatory affairs. Okay, that's the job that I need to get.
Yeah.
Then I got an interview for a company called Teva Pharmaceuticals, which is a generics company. And as any person does when they get a job, or any of us nowadays, is go on LinkedIn. And I started messaging, well, stalking people that worked in Teva. I started messaging all these people, and one of those people were Zora. So I
And I
messaged,
replied to her.
yeah, thankfully. So I messaged her and I said, look, I've got an interview coming up. I still 100% don't know what regulatory is. Can you help me with my interview? So she really kindly gave me some tips, some answers to some questions.
I think, was it the night before your
I
interview?
think so,
Yeah, I
something
think
like
so. I'm
that.
sure
Yeah.
it was. You said, oh, because when I replied to you,
Yeah.
I think the next morning, or I asked you when's your interview, you said, oh, it's today.
So I had a telephone interview, and I can't remember whether, I think I reached out to you after the telephone
Probably
interview
on
when,
face to face.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so the telephone interview went really well. I thought it went crap. I thought I
Mhm.
didn't get it, and I was like so sad at the end of it. And then luckily I got a call back, and I was like just over the moon when I got that. And then yeah, after I spoke to you, you kind of helped me with a lot of the questions that just kind of solidified my knowledge that I
Mhm.
got from the TOPRA course as well. Because when you do the course, if you've never worked in regulatory, still is a bit, it's like jargon,
Yeah,
right?
you don't
You don't
understand what
get
they're
it.
talking about. Yeah.
So you really helped me with that, and thankfully got the job from there. So
That's how we know each other.
yeah, exactly. So we've known each
From
other for
LinkedIn.
so sometimes that's all you need to do is
Yeah,
form connections. And
it
with
helps.
regular in pharmaceuticals especially, forming connections is probably one of the main pieces of advice I could give anyone,
Yeah.
is network, speak to people that you wouldn't usually speak to, and just take some risks sometimes. Because if I hadn't spoken to Zora that day, I might not have got that interview, or might not have got that job, and we might not be here where
No,
we are
we
today.
wouldn't.
So yeah, so that was how I got my first job into regulatory, and it's been a whirlwind since then.
Yeah, it's been a good few years now, no? How
Yeah,
long has it been?
that was in 2019.
Oh, was it
Yeah,
2019? Okay,
I know.
wow.
So it's
Long
been
time.
quite a long time. I
Yeah.
know.
So that was our first kind of introduction video, more of a get to know us, get to know me kind of thing. So you can get an understanding of our background. And if you have similar backgrounds and it's something, that you'd be interested in following us along, because we're going to speak about our journey a bit more,
Yeah.
stay tuned.
Yeah. Also, all of our comments, our views, opinions are our own and not affiliated with any company mentioned in any of our videos. So we'd love it if you could subscribe to our YouTube page, like, comment, share these videos, and we also have a TikTok page, Talk Regulatory to Me. We'll be sharing more insights into drug development and regulatory affairs.
See you on the next video.
Bye.